Do you like Hades? Do you like The Binding of Isaac? Do you like gambling? Do you like stapling your scrotum to a wall and dangling there helplessly until an assassin bot shows up to end your misery? Do you like Path of Exile, but only have 2 brain cells? Do you like Dark Souls? Do you like Toho? Do you like option paralysis? Do you like child abduction and incorrect use of apostrophes? If so, then Tiny Rogues is the game for you. How do you play? Don't get hit. Kill everything in the room. Grab or leave your reward. Pick left or right. Repeat. Even a Diablo 4 player can understand it. Despite the name and first appearances, you should know that Tiny Rogues isn't a roguelite. It's not a twin-stick shooter, it's not an action RPG. Tiny Rogues is a BuzzFeed-like. The dev has taken systems and ideas from 100 different games and condensed them all into an experience that is most akin to filling out a questionnaire to determine which Powerpuff Girl you would be. Would you rather eat a piece of fruit or a chocolate bar? Which of these 4 boss drops best reflects you as a build? Are you good or evil? You really want to put that hat on. You'll become instantly retarded if you take your brain tank off. Are you sure? A sprawling, interwoven web of consequences presented to you one thread of silk at a time. At least until you finally hit a major boss and get your test results. You weren't a Powerpuff Girl after all. You've made the mayor of Townsville. And Tiamat, guardian of the burning hells, just broke your arthritic ass in half. Because you have 0 DPS. But then, just like a tween doing BuzzFeed quizzes late into a school night, you start to glimpse what's happening behind the scenes. You no longer see an endless stream of one-off choices. You can read the matrix. You can see the paths ahead of you. It's not 3 pieces of candy, a luck-up clover, and a minigun. You're working towards a triggered effect build. Maybe all the good stuff's cursed this run. Well, maybe I want to be cursed. Maybe I'll be evil too, Mom. What will you think of me then? How about I put on these gloves that give me guaranteed crits on cursed hits that I found in the evil store and bought in return for a stack of souls? That's right. I got 100% goth on my BuzzFeed quiz, and now I'm shooting up the school that is Tiny Rogues. And it's not just the choices you make on a run, it's also where you start. There are over 30 classes, ranging from the baby-back bitch copium cleric who gets innate resurrections, to legally different China knockoff One Punch Man, who gets to pick a run-defining overpowered perk on his first level up. Speaking of level ups, the game bases its XP system on the traditional American belief that simply consuming as much food as possible makes you more powerful. Everything you eat, 1 XP. 5 XP, you level up and get to choose a perk. These perks are rolled depending on your stats, which depends on your diet. Eat nothing but candy, your IQ skyrockets, and now you can control lightning or blast things even harder with your mighty rod. Meat makes you stronger and could result in you launching a goat out of your ass every time you dash. Also, as in real life, eating vegetables turns you gay and lets you do elf things, while a balanced diet gives you a more varied selection when you level up. The 3 stats, strength, dex, and int, additionally offer innate bonuses like carry weight, attack speed, and crit chance, respectively. So you have to bear that in mind as you gorge yourself on Twinkies. You'll get all the sickest magic buffs, but you might be too obese to move if you wear any clothes and carry anything heavier than a lightly enchanted twig that barely benefits from all your buffs. Better pray for gear that will compensate for your lack of meat by buffing equip load, or the eater will become the eaten in a matter of rooms. A similarly American system is morality. In this game, much like on Twitter, how good or evil you are is based primarily on where you shop for goods. Buy product from good shop, become good, go to heaven as your final area. Buy from the Apple Store, go straight to hell. The strongest builds in Tiny Rogues are the result of a careful balancing act of knowing when to commit, what you're looking for, and when to pivot. If gauged correctly, you will shatter the game into pieces. Breaking the game moves from being something that can happen to something you need to understand how to make happen when you start adding challenge with the Cinder system. Each little box you click can be seen as a metaphorical nail bomb shoved up your character's sphincter. Once you hit max Cinder level, the game, much like your tiny rogue's figurative anal circumference, will never be the same. Thankfully, the mastery system also exists, the meta progression tree. I normally despise meta progression. Great, I struggled to beat the game, and now the game's no longer the challenge I was trying to beat anymore. It was pretending to be a game, when actually it's just a timer that lets me win when I've sunk enough time into it. Luckily though, there's no, "You do 5 million damage now, you're so cool, don't you feel good that winning or losing comes down entirely to clicking this box" node. There are a handful of raw power upgrades. You can get more starting Estus flasks and the ability to chug that hot sticky liquid twice as fast. But it's mostly more down to taste, and you can't take everything. Even here, you have to make a few hard choices, and it absolutely does not keep pace with the challenge of pushing Cinder levels. In other words, the game lets you do steroids, but the enemies are pumped full of PCP. It's just another piece of your build, another literal web of choices. I don't play games anywhere near as much as I used to when I'm not streaming, but this one hooked me with its latest update. I've played 70 hours of this in total, which for me is a ton to put into a single experience. Did I mention, by the way, that it's an early access game? 34 characters, hundreds of items, over 100 perks, something like 40 bosses. And the dev doesn't even consider it baseline finished, with another major update on the way, adding a 4th path to the endgame that already has 3 ways to go. Jesus Christ. And this little 10-minute or less blowjob I've given the game barely scratches the surface of the minutiae that make it great. I once sat stun-locked for what felt like an entire 10 minutes, trying to decide how to solve the issue of an inventory full of relevant gear to my build that I couldn't wear all of simultaneously, only to sell what I didn't put on and decided wasn't worth keeping, and then immediately get a drop that would have completed a powerful set I just traded the other piece of for a pathetic handful of coins because I thought I'd never complete the set. My heart broke. And then I started losing my mind, wondering if it would even have been better than what I stuck with. And then I died. That might sound on its face like a horrible experience. However, I recommend embracing the mind goblins. This game's worth developing dementia for, even in its unfinished state. Because when that happens, it just means it makes you care about the little pixels on a screen, which is all a game's gotta make happen, when so few do. But, as usual, that's just another one of my harmful opinions.